Have you ever experienced a God wink? You know, the kind of experience you know without a shadow of a doubt that God stepped in and gave you a big old wink from heaven. I'm your host, Cindy Spar, broadcasting from Office Evolution in Troy, Michigan. I am the founder of My Collective Network and My Christian Business Network, two amazing business networking organizations. I am a firm believer that there is power in sharing God wink stories. Think of it as a way for people to shine their light on Jesus, one wink at a time. In Matthew 5:14, it says, "You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden. Nor do people light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on a stand, and it gives light to all in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, so that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father who is in heaven." Super excited, everybody, to be on with us today. I've done so much work out of Office Evolution through our podcast that I thought it would be super awesome to have Colleen Budde on with us today. She is a very special woman. Many of you may know she owns Office Evolution alongside her husband, Brandon. And she has some interesting God winks that she's going to share with us today that I thought was very funny, actually. Ha ha, wink, wink.
I see what you did there.
Yeah. So, Colleen, please just tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
So, my name is Colleen, and I own Office Evolution Troy. Thank you for the lovely intro, Cindy. So, I'm an engineer by education, entrepreneur. I don't think I had a choice to be an entrepreneur. Honestly, I was born a serial entrepreneur, much probably like yourself, Cindy.
It was in your veins.
Yeah. I've been doing e-commerce, like selling things on eBay and Etsy and all kinds of stuff for at least 15 years. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't until I met my husband, Brandon, that I was kind of able to, like, supersize the
vision.
Well, supersize the business, right? Because when you're doing e-commerce stuff, it's like I am making money one pair of old shoes at a time versus, hey, I just dumped several $100,000 into a business and hopefully that is going to return in several 100,000 times 2 to 5 over the next 10 years. So definitely having the power of a business partner and a spouse and a life partner to kind of give you that confidence, but also extra resources, extra manpower, extra mental energy and force. Has been fantastic and great and terrifying and we still like each other. So
that's what I was going to ask. I'm like, how is that?
Yeah. So me and Brandon, we joke that we cannot even go grocery shopping together because we both have, like, I start at the front, he starts at the back, and I like this aisle first and that aisle first, and the way we arrange the cart is completely different. And I like to go on Saturdays, and he won't go if there's more than 5 cars in the parking lot.
Oh my God. You going at midnight?
And I'm also an impulse shopper, so I'll often go hungry, like go on an empty stomach to the grocery store, and then I'm like, oh, that looks good. Oh, that looks good. Oh. And suddenly I have several $100s of groceries in the cart that I probably will never use. Versus Brandon, who goes in with a list and he gets exactly what's on the list, which I don't know how he does it.
Well,
I don't.
He never ventures, huh?
Well, no, he's actually pretty adventurous. He's just on a budget. He's like lightning precision of like...
Opposites attract. Now I get it.
Oh my God, we are so opposite. It's like spooky. But no, so we have such different styles, but it's very, very, very complementary. And that's one of the biggest pieces of advice I give to anyone that's looking for a business partner is try and find someone that has complementary skill sets. So if you're really gregarious, outgoing, try and find somebody that has the skills that you maybe don't have. If you're bad at math, try and find somebody that's good at math. If you're not as outgoing, try and find a business partner that's outgoing, because that's what me and Brandon, I think, really excel at is working in parallel towards a common goal.
Yeah.
So the things that we do, work with each other on, we like laugh at each other. We're like, no, I'm doing it this way. Well, I would do it this way. And he's like, I didn't ask your opinion.
That sounds like a marriage, you guys, right there.
Yeah, and so we've really just learned to kind of stay in our own lane, but also if we do have feedback for each other, the first rule is to always be kind. And make sure you know what kind of tone you're using.
Oh, yeah. It's always relates back to the tone. That's what my husband says.
Even today, I forget what we were talking about, but I was like, stop being mean to me. And he's like, I'm not being mean to you, ma'am. I am simply trying to have a conversation.
So do you guys have like entrepreneur brainstorming or?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. We go out to dinner. We went to, I forget what the restaurant is, but it's basically like a bar. It has pinball machines. It's in Shelby. It's out 22 in Van Dyke, I think.
Okay.
One Night Jacks. That's what it was. So they have, it's like a bar, and they have like a charity poker room. They have lanes for bags. Cornhole.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm very bad if this was a game.
I know. Like, what's it called? Come on. Well, you don't live in Shelby. But yeah, they had lanes for it. And me and Brandon were just thinking, this is such a great place because it's experiential, but it's also a bar and it has food. Yeah. And so, like, for every $10 of food and drinks that you get free coins to go play the arcade games. What? So we brought our daughter, and she's 3.5, and she was great at bowling. So they had like a little bowling arcade game, and then they had the whack-a-mole, except just the crocodiles. Oh, yeah. So it was a lot of fun. And so we were just thinking, we would talk to each other and we're like, look at the space, look at the build out. I wonder what the capital investment was. I wonder how much money they make off of the bar versus the arcade games. Obviously, that's just a loss leader. But
you always think about how much you could make off of it when you're looking around.
Or we're just like, this is a great business idea, or if we open this, how would we do it? What area of the city would we do? And how would we make it our own?
Wow.
So I don't like poker. I don't really like cornhole that much. That wouldn't be a thing. But kind of putting your own spin on it of, well, if I was going to do this, I would do it in pink, right? You know what I mean? Like color scheme and taking the best ideas. Because I feel like that's what most entrepreneurs do when they're successful is they take really good ideas that were successful and they kind of reinvent the wheel for their area, right? Which is what
Bridge the gap, figure out where.
Because Office Evolution, it's a franchise. We have 85 locations nationwide, but every franchise owner has to reinvent the wheel for their market.
Yeah.
So me and Brandon were just talking. We're saying, I really want another conference room because our 8-person conference room is really, really popular. And I have a team office that's been empty for a couple of months. Why don't we just turn it into a conference room for an 8-person conference room? It wouldn't take that much money. We can make it kind of a flex thing. But if the market in our area really wants 8-person conference rooms,
flex.
And I have an empty office that could accommodate that. Why wouldn't I?
Yeah.
And so that was the conversation we were having today of where are we going to get the furniture? Are we going to stick with our color scheme? Can we get away with
#marketplace?
Yeah, exactly. No, exactly. Because the franchise is freedom within a framework. So we get a color scheme. We get a rough menu of services that we're required to offer. And then we get a whole bunch of suggestions. So when we did our build-out, we were able to really guide what we wanted. So we chose to go with 62 private offices and 3 conference rooms. We could have made 1,000 square feet of just co-working space. We knew we didn't want that because that's not really a moneymaker when we looked at the entire network. Yeah. But when it comes to Southeast Michigan, we have we have the automotive industry. We have tons of really big companies that are going hybrid and remote. And we have new companies that are coming in and wanting to engage with the automotive community, and maybe they don't have a world headquarters here, maybe they don't have office space here. Yeah. They're coming to us to host their sales teams meetings. They're coming to us for their brick and mortar office because we save them a ton of money, because they're flexible, because we have all of the amenities. They don't have to hire a receptionist or an office manager. They don't have to worry about paying the internet bill. They don't have to worry about, we have a lot of people from overseas, so they don't really have to worry about all the lost in translation things of contacting somebody or contacting an additional service to set those things up for them, right?
Yeah.
So it's just a great model.
So kind of looking around too, there's a lot of different co-working spaces that pop up, right, in different communities. But something that was said even from one of your current members today was, the offices here, it's so clean, neat, and organized. It's not like you're winging it. You know what I mean?
And I think that's really where the franchise comes in because they really put the polish on it. Because you see a lot, especially in Southeast Michigan, the commercial real estate market is kind of in a lull because people aren't renewing their commercial leases. After COVID, they realized that they don't need to justify having a couple thousand square feet of office space. Yeah. And so they're not renewing, and they're kind of coming to the co-working side of it. But we have a lot of landlords with commercial spaces that are kind of turning their offices into co-working spaces. And they're like, yeah, I'll do a short-term lease. But they don't have they don't have the shredding, they don't have the copier, they don't have the infrastructure to really bill at all of the little amenities that we bill for.
Yeah.
Our copier has a job counter, and I bill copies at the end of the month. And I'm not sure if landlords are that sophisticated, or they even want to be that sophisticated, right? Because they're landlords. They got into the business to be a landlord, not necessarily to run a co-working space, right?
Yeah.
So the franchise really, I think, does provide that extra polish. But as far as it being clean, that's really just my OCD-ness.
You're always vacuuming when I'm here.
I can't. I desperately want a Roomba for the office, just to like let it go at night in the middle of the night.
Oh yeah.
Because of little crumbs, because we don't have carpet anywhere, right?
Yeah, that's a good sign.
In the offices we have carpet, but in the exterior it's all just PVT, so it's like polyvinyl fluoride or
what?
Flooring. So it's like a stick-on flooring, but it's a faux wood.
Yeah.
And I notice all the little crumbs and hair everywhere.
Especially if the light comes in, I bet.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so that's just me. The saying goes, if you want a clean house, throw a party.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm throwing a party every day. People are seeing my house and it's just a disaster. And I'm like, no, the crumbs. So I'm constantly like wiping things down and vacuuming. And
at least if you had a Roomba, you wouldn't have to worry that it ate your carpet rugs like mine.
Exactly. Or, God willing, I wouldn't have to worry about like dog poop.
Yes.
That's always the big thing. And since it's all one surface, like I feel like it wouldn't also get stuck on thresholds.
Yeah.
I can't wait to get a Roomba. We have to justify it financially though first.
Yeah, the big things in life.
Yeah.
You have a list.
Can't wait. Can't wait to get a Roomba.
Well, I even have to say I'm impressed with how you and Brandon are with your finances. You guys don't look to drive the newest and greatest new car out there.
No.
You are all about pouring it into the business, making the business better, but financially being responsible. You're not dying of debt when you go home. You're not.
No. So we have a small business administration loan for the business that kind of helped us with all the capital investment, and then a lot of it we bankrolled or cash flowed. That's the word. We cash flowed a lot of it, but a lot of that is Brandon. So I'm absolutely the spender. But his mom was an accountant. He was playing in the stock market at 12.
Oh my gosh.
Like he definitely had a much more sophisticated financial education growing up than I did. And so he definitely, and that's part of being good business partners and that's why we make such complementary business partners, is he's a little tight-fisted, but I'm the spender, so we balance each other out really, really well. To where I'm like, no, we need this. And Brandon's like, fine, we can get this, but we're going to buy it on Marketplace. And we're going to, and so I might have to wait, which is torture. But yeah, it's definitely a lot of that is Brandon. I've definitely done my part, but he's absolutely the one that's, okay, can we stop spending money this month? Our credit cards got a little out of control. But even before, we were both engineers, we were both making great salaries, and we would make a game out of how much money we could save every month. And so we don't carry any credit card debt. We don't carry car debt. My car is a 2011. I bought it brand new. I paid it off. I baby it. I take care of it. It has 175,000 miles on it. Hopefully it'll take me another 100,000 miles at least. It's starting to rust a little bit. He drives an old truck. Installed his Monte Carlo that he drove in high school.
Oh, that's so awesome.
So yeah, but
I think it's awesome because when I see business owners that are not coming up with the newest cars, I have so much more respect for them because they grind it out. They really
because I'm not doing all of this work so I could be in more debt and owe more money. I'm doing this so I have more freedom, right? Because I feel like freedom and time are the new American dream, right? It's because the current American dream and the one of the 90s and I feel like the 80s and the early aughts is credit card debt, living paycheck to paycheck, charging everything on credit. And credit's powerful. It can do a lot of great things, but I feel like it does way more harm than good. Yeah. And I listen to Dave Ramsey. I take it with a grain of salt. It's not applicable in all situations, but that's his basic things. It's pay cash for as much stuff as possible, save for what you want, have goals, have a budget. Because most people just don't have a budget. I never had a budget until I met Brandon. We barely have a budget now. It's mostly just don't spend money, Colleen. That's the budget. And every month, on the first of the month, it's my favorite day because I get to calculate how much money we made in our business, how much money we spent on credit cards, how much money we saved, what our stocks are doing. So I do that on the first of every month, and it's one of the best days because look what we did last month. And let's see if we
get data with it.
We have so much data. And so I can tell you how much money we saved to the penny for the last 5 years, right?
Oh my gosh. Guys, I walked in on her a couple days ago?
Yeah.
And you were sorting through your tiaras that you have.
Yeah.
So this girl has a side hustle. Listen, but it's not this dinky little side hustle.
Yeah.
It's seriously great money that she makes through Auburn and Maine?
Yeah, Auburn and Maine. Most of it's through the Shopify, and then I do Renaissance festivals and fairs and stuff. But it's multiple streams of income.
Yeah.
It's one of the games that me and Brandon play. We would love an airplane because we love going to the UP, but the drive is just the worst. So we joke that we need an pilot's license is an airplane, but then at the same time we're like, okay, but how are we going to have this pay for itself? Is there a way we can rent the airplane? Can we go halvesies with someone? We can't charter flights because that's
the way you roll.
But it's not a frivolous spending. It's how do we get it to pay for itself, or how do we financially justify it, or is this just
turn it into an income stream?
Yeah, or just pay for itself, breaking even, because it's definitely a luxury. It's definitely a want, not a need. But again, time and that kind of freedom is the new American dream, in my opinion. And that's really what we're doing all this stuff for, is because we both had those 9-to-5 jobs where for 40 hours a week, someone else was telling me what I was doing. I had to be at work at 8 a.m. I was there until 4 or 5. And now that I have a daughter, I can't imagine only seeing her for a couple hours a day. I've been doing it for the last couple of months, just since I started working as the full-time business center manager, which we'll get to the God wink part of that in a little eventually. But I can't imagine not seeing her. There's a couple of times a month where I leave before she wakes up, and I get home. And sometimes I'll get home after she goes to bed, and I don't get to see her all day. And, it sucks.
The time flies.
It does. And she's already 3.5, and I can't what?
Yeah.
And so, having that freedom, having that ability to maybe not buy everything I want, but being able to buy
time with her.
Buy time with her and, not have to worry about paying the water bill or not having to worry about paying the mortgage, because those are the only two pieces of debt that we have, is our mortgage on our primary home, which is the only home we own. And
primary
for now, and then our SBA loan for our business. Those are the only two pieces of debt, and we're trying really hard to pay those off as quickly as possible. But we're only in year 2 of our brick and mortar, and it takes 2 to 5 years to break even, start covering your expenses, and then you start digging out of the hole that you created for yourself. And then after 5 years, everything else should be cake, right? Or everything else should be just cash flow and just money in your pocket.
Yeah.
And so far, that's what it's looking like it's going to be, but we're only in year 2. I am not even 2 years old with my business. So it just takes time, and I love my car, and I love my house, and I don't want to move.
Yeah. And get your mornings with your daughter, you said. You cherish them.
Would you rather have a house you can't really afford, or would you rather have time with your kids?
Yeah.
And I choose time with my kids and my husband, and maybe going on vacation, or maybe our dreams is to buy an RV and just travel around the United States and homeschool our kids. That's our dream.
Yeah.
And being able to have that freedom. And I saw one girl on Instagram, and she's, I want to homeschool my kids, and people think I'm weird. And I would have thought you were weird 15 years ago too. That's weird. People who homeschool their kids have a bad rap. But now, the way she was explaining it, she's the incidents of bullying, harassment, kids maybe not coming home from school ever due to all kinds of violence and things. And then also, maybe I want to get a good flight deal and take my kids to Europe randomly.
Right.
Or have them in ski lessons during the week, or music lessons, or just give them a little non-traditional lifestyle, non-traditional upbringing, right? Because knowledge is power. I want my kids to experience things. I want to experience things.
Right.
And again, having the freedom and the flexibility to do that is what I'm working hard to achieve. And
we have to remind ourselves of that.
Yeah, and exactly. And every time I hang out with my kid, I'm just yep, this is exactly what I get to do and why I'm doing it and what I'm doing it for. And And so it's just those experiences in that time, right? I do love shopping on Amazon. I do love stuff. I love a good pair of shoes that I'm never going to wear. But when you get into the habit, and habit is so important, I think, too. It's exercise, it's spending, it's how you treat yourself and other people. Like, habit is very powerful.
Yeah.
But once you get into the habit of it, you don't miss it.
Yeah. And then if you ever tried to go back, you'd be like, oh, I don't like this.
Well, no, that's not true. I love shopping. Every time I get a wild hair at my butt and I go spend a couple $100 on Amazon, I'm like, yes, this feels so good. And then I get it in the mail and I'm like, this is the best. But then I look at the credit card bill.
It's the aftermath.
That's when it hits you. And you're just like, nah.
You could tie that in every area of health or spending. Everything is moderation. Oh.
Yeah, and you only wake up with so much mental energy every day, right? Like you only get so many to give.
Exactly.
And you just got to choose your hard. Being a small business owner is hard. Living paycheck to paycheck is hard. Working for someone else is hard. Being fat is hard. Being really skinny and in great shape is hard. It's just different hard. Like, choose your hard.
Yeah.
I like that. That's my favorite saying. Choose your hard.
Choose your hard.
Choose where you...
Hashtag choose your hard.
Hashtag choose your hard.
So tell us a little bit about when you guys said God winks, or maybe more God laughs.
Oh, God laughs all the time at me. So my specific God wink story, it happened this past October. We got our tax return. And,
is that a wink, good?
That was a wink. That was good. Where it kind of gave us it was like a $12,000 tax return from the state, and it was basically because we declared such a huge loss on our business for the first year, which is super common.
Yeah.
You get the majority, if not 100%, of your W-2 taxes paid back. So you don't get your Medicare and FICA taxes. You don't get those back, but your income tax from the federal government and the state of Michigan, we got back. So we got our state one hit, and it was just this big pile of money, and I was like, that's time. I just got a bunch of time. That's what that means to me. That's time. And it was one of those breaking points where we had invested in this business. Both of us had our full-time, daytime jobs because we had employed a full-time employee to run the business, and then we were just kind of there supervising or doing what we could in the evenings and nights and weekends. And it was just too much, obviously. I was listening to this. People think it's too much, right? And what are you doing? And so it was October 2nd or something. We finally got it into our bank account. And I just started sobbing. And I go into Brandon's office and at home, and I'm just like, Brandon, I'm going to quit my job today. I really want to quit my job. And he's like, what? What do you mean? Talk to me. And I'm just sobbing. I can't do this anymore. This is too much. I miss my daughter. I just want time. And this is time. I don't know if I want to get another corporate job. I don't know if I want to go into the woods and camp for the rest of my life. I don't know, but it's too much. I'm done. Something's got to give, right? And I'm just sobbing uncontrollably. And Brandon's like, well, sounds like you already made your decision up. Your mind up. And so I'm not going to stop you. So if you need to go quit your job, go quit your job. And so I did. I quit my job. And it was the best. And that night, we drank a couple bottles of wine. And to Brandon's credit, he was just like, well, what are you going to do?
Next.
This is
Were you nervous? Because that's pretty bold.
No, I was just so over it because I hated the job. That's one of the reasons I really wanted to get into entrepreneurship, is because I really, really, really don't like being an engineer, working as an engineer. It just doesn't suit me. The only reason I got an engineering degree is because I was good at math. And everybody's like, that means you should be an engineer. Yeah. Worst advice ever. The fact that we're having 18-year-olds choose their life and commit to hundreds of thousands of dollars in student loan debt it's the biggest joke that I can think of. Yeah. And I was definitely part of that. And I was one of the good stories. I paid off my student loans. I graduated with $70,000 in student loan debt, and I paid it off in 6 years. And I was one of the lucky ones. I had a 6-figure paying job when I quit my job. And we saved half of our income. It allowed us to invest so much money into our business. We didn't take any money from anyone. We took money from the federal government, and it's backed by the SBA. And
it's fine to take from the federal government.
It's fine. It's backed. It's fine. Whatever. Taxpayers. Tax dollars at work. It's fine. It's fine. But yeah, so I ended up rage quitting my job, and Brandon was, okay, what do you I'm not happy about it. I'm super scared. I don't know what our finances are going to look like or do, but I'm happy that you're happy. And so that was October 2nd. And then October 6th, the following Monday, our full-time business center manager gave us a 2 weeks notice. And I've been, son of a monkey.
Time back. I want my time back.
And so I thought I was just going to take the fall off, like hang out with my daughter through Christmas. And that didn't happen. And so we kind of looked at each other and we're like, well, I guess I'm the full-time business center manager then. And it was probably the best thing that has ever happened for us in our business. I really, really love being really in-depth with my business. I love being one-to-one with my clients. I love knowing the ins and outs and everything. Because when you get sold a franchise, they're basically, no, you should hire someone. You just hire someone to run the business, and you don't really have to be there, is how they kind of phrase it.
Because it's franchise.
Because it's a franchise. Because it's a formula. It's like a formula in a box. And that's probably the worst advice anybody can give for a small business brick and mortar. Don't be there. Just hire someone else to run it. And for a more mature location with a mature book of business, a mature money coming in and stuff like that, yes, it works. It works great. But for starting out, you absolutely need to be way more involved than I think I was kind of led to believe. And that's more on me than anything.
And how would you know even where the gaps are unless you immerse into it?
Exactly. And so it was a very rude awakening. It's not a super hard job by any means, but it's just, there's a lot to it. There's a lot of like nitty gritty ins and outs of it. And you don't know until you do the job, right? You don't know that this person gets mail once a month, this person gets mail every day. You don't know that this person always pays late and this person wants their invoice early. And you don't know that this person needs you to manually run their payment versus like them putting it on auto pay because sometimes they don't have money in their checking account. And it was just the best thing ever. I never, ever, 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 ever had any intention of ever being the business center manager, but it was the best thing that could have ever happened.
It seems like, too, you've had time to where you could sharpen your saw.
Yeah.
In different areas.
So I definitely miss networking. I haven't been able to do as much networking as I did before. And I definitely have less time with my daughter, which is, again, a big old joke. Because, like, you go into small business ownership thinking, I get more time with my kid because I'm not at my day job. Joke's on you. Because me and Brandon joke all the time, like, thank God we didn't open a restaurant because we would never be home. We would never see each other. I have banger hours, and, like, it's enough. But it's been great. I love being a small business owner. I love running the business. And I just wish I would have quit sooner. Financially, it was probably wise to, like, keep my day job as long as I did. But yeah, it's the best. And it was just one of those things where God's laughing at you, right? You think you know what you want. You think you know what you're going to be good at. You think you know what you are going to be doing. The classic saying, if you want to hear God laugh, tell him your plans. Just put it out, manifest it, just let him laugh. Yeah. And it's great. And I feel like that's happened a bunch of times throughout my life of all of these like things are happening and you just kind of have to like go with the flow a little bit. And you know, God helps those who help themselves. But you just kind of have to let him lead. And that's hard for me because I'm a little bit OCD and a little bit control freaky, which is why my space is so clean all the time. But
sometimes I feel, too, at least in this journey with podcasting, I've had to go back to God and say, okay, that moved us forward, but we're still not all the way there. And I think he does it on purpose. It's because I want you to keep coming back because you have a tendency to want to take it back for yourself to figure it out. And I'm expecting you to come back and ask, what do I do next?
I'm expecting you to put it down.
Yeah.
Put it back down and let me talk to you and listen. Or put it down and watch and wait and listen.
Yeah.
And let it flow and breathe and unclench. And, right? It's just, right? Because we've all been in those situations where it's like we're Atlas pushing the big rock up the hill and we're like, why is this so hard? Mm-hmm. And it's not until we put it down and we take a break and we just kind of listen and observe and let an opportunity maybe present itself, or somebody maybe comes along and says, hey, do you want some help with that big old rock? Atlas never asked for help or never waited for help to show up, or he was always halfway up when it walked by the bottom of the hill or something. But yeah, it's crazy how when you just shut up and just listen.
Yeah.
It's very powerful.
So if you were to give one piece of advice to someone who's just starting out in business, what would it be?
That's a great question.
Like so many,
Start
right?
networking today.
Oh.
Start networking right the second. Go. You don't have to spend a penny. Mm-hmm. You do not have to spend any money. You don't have to join any groups. You don't have to do anything. There are so many free networking events. There's free networking opportunities. Go find a free networking opportunity. Go on Eventbrite, find some stuff, and just go meet some people. Go talk to people. Maybe print some business cards with your name and your contact information and maybe your socials and things like that. It could be a little awkward. What do I put on my business card? I don't know. Put your contact information. Seeking life journey or something. But go network today, because that was one of the things that no one ever told me to do was network. And you just learn so much by just listening again.
Oh, that's big.
Listen, right? Because I'm part of several groups, and me as a business owner of a co-working space, my job is to serve the small business community. So whenever I get to go to a networking event, especially when everybody gets to give like a 30-second commercial about their business, who they're looking for, what kind of referrals I'm listening to learn about them, because then I can tailor a commercial to them. I can speak more intelligently towards what they do. Mm-hmm. When you're selling insurance, when you're selling a financial product, when you're working for a bigger company. I have different little sales pitches for each of those, because I feel like I know enough of them, and enough of them have used our space that I can say, well, typically financial people use it in this way, in giving people ideas. So yeah, start networking. Go meet people. Even
just the fact of listening, and for listeners, in networking, in anything, it's not even networking. The power is listening more than speaking.
Oh, yes.
They say that all the time, right?
Yeah. The most important part of sales is listening. Shh. Just shut up. Listening. And it's active listening. It's not waiting for your turn to talk. Yeah. It's I am actively listening. I'm understanding what they're saying. And you take a minute. And there's that one sales technique where you listen and then you just rephrase and repeat back what they said. Yeah. And that's one of the most powerful things, because one, you're showing the person that you're selling to that you're actively listening, and you understood and you comprehended what they're needing. And then you're also, again, it gives you more time to formulate then your sales pitch of yes, so I understand what they're saying. Now I can propose something to them, right? The consultative sales process. But yeah, go network and listen and learn, because you don't know what you don't know.
And I promise I did not tee that up. Well, guys, there's one last thing I want to ask. How can people connect with you?
You can go on our website, or go on any of our socials. So it's Office Evolution Troy in many different forms, on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. We're on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn. Feel free to reach out. Colleen Budde, Budde.
Yeah, not Y.
But it's pronounced Buddy, like Buddy the Elf. Or just stop in. We're at 801 West Big Beaver, Suite 300. And yeah, we'd love to meet you. I can't wait to meet you.
Well, thanks so much, Colleen. It was such a pleasure just talking authentic conversation, right, around business and the thoughts that get in our head, right?
Amen. Preach, girl, preach.
I want to give a big thank you to Office Evolution Troy for providing their podcast studio for us this afternoon to record. If you have any questions, or you would like to book your own time in their podcast studio, give them a call at 586-788-9966. If today's God Wink story really hit home with you, we would love to hear about it through the God Wink community on Facebook. If you know of someone that needs to hear today's God Wink story, show them some love and tag them on the God Wink podcast. You never know how a God Wink story might change their day around for the better. If you or someone you know has a God Wink story that the world needs to hear, we want to hear it. Simply click the link within the podcast notes to send in your God Wink story. Until next time, remember, God's got you. Wink, wink.